class of 2TAC 12 as it was. I'd like to welcome you all here today, and I'd like to know, first of all, show of our veterans in the audience. How many veterans do we have here? Got a few in there. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for our veterans. Today we have a very special guest with us today. He's from the Family Readiness Office. Today we have Mr. Harry Bailey. He's going to talk to you for a few minutes, and we'll go right into this ceremony. So without further ado, Mr. Harry Bailey. Really appreciate you guys having me come out. It's a great honor and privilege. I'm a retired Marine myself, former CO of the MP school, so it's a huge honor to be able to continue to serve the Marines out here. You know, when we see your Marines, you know, they all have short hair, they're dressed alike, and they sit there and they sort of look at you and blink in unison. And if they don't laugh at my jokes, I just go, laugh, that was funny, you know, and they all sort of chuckle. But we do understand that your Marines are a reflection of you, and they come from all walks of life. So it's very important that you're here and that you continue to support your Marine throughout their career, because that moral warehouse and value system and who they are as human beings that they've acquired through growing up with you, they're going to continue to carry that throughout their lifetime, and that's going to be a huge benefit to them on the battle. And knowing that you support them is absolutely critical. I can tell you from personal experience. I was talking to Sergeant Davids when I got invited to come and speak today about you know, what I should talk about. And one of these days I'm going to learn to ask better questions, because he responded like a typical Marine Corps sergeant. He said, "Sir, you should talk about 2 minutes." So I'll try to keep it short. I know I can be a little bit long-winded because the chaplain tells me to keep it short. That's usually a pretty good sign. So I thought I would just relay a story about when I first got here. When I first got orders here, I says to myself, "Self," that's what I call me when I'm talking to me, you know. I said, "Self, what are you doing coming to an Army base?" He says, "Well, Self, you're a good Marine, you got orders, you do what you're told just like everybody else." So I got up in the morning, I put on my uniform, you know, in front of the mirror, gave myself a hug, and I got so turned on I had to slap. Yeah. So I got in the car, and I'm driving to the base, and I saw that big sign out there that said Waffle House. You know, the one out there, right? And I said, "Self, you gotta love this country." Because where I just come from, they didn't have Waffle Houses, trust me. So I says, "I got time," and I go in there, and I sat down at the counter and ordered up a steak and eggs, medium well and scrambled, scattered, smothered, covered, chunk. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? So I'm sitting there and drinking my coffee, and there's this fellow in there, and he says, "Marine, what in the heck's a Marine anyway?" Got under my saddle pad a little bit, you know. I felt like I wanted to beat. Let me be a little more politically correct. I felt obligated to educate my fellow Americans. I said, "Mister, let me tell you something. A Marine is a high-flying, deep-diving, parafrog devil dog, a high-stepping, low-crawling, straight-shooting, non-mistaken-making, amphibious warrior of the sea who for over 237 years is not known to me in fear, for it is fear itself. Your best friend, the enemy's worst nightmare, and every woman's dream." Yeah, well, I ain't done, I was mad. 180 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal. The baddest thing from Boston to Austin, from Rome to home, from Maine to Spain, from Iran to Afghanistan to Vietnam to every other freaking stand when nobody else understands and the battle is over, we still stand from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, WW1, WW2, and everything in between, from Kuwait to the interstate, from Iraq and back. We took the rope from the Army, the anchor from the Navy, the eagle from the Air Force, and on the 7th day when the good Lord rested, we encircled the globe. And we have been providing perimeter security on the starry ranges of heaven ever since. So ladies and gentlemen, I don't want you to be one bit surprised when you cross over Jordan and St. Peter says, hey, y'all get in the truck, we're going to the big house. I kind of think he's going to have a southern accent. And you get up there and you see a Marine MP at the pearly gate waving traffic and checking ID cards. Because I'm pretty sure that's the way it's going to work. And so you have very good reason to be proud of your Marine today. But even that's just being a Marine. Your Marines are a cut above because they are the keepers of the world's 911. And somewhere over in Afghanistan, there's a little kid that can go out and play soccer in the street because he sees your Marine out there. And there's a commander that can take his boots off and read a letter from home because he knows he's got the MPs controlling the streets. And here in our own country, somewhere aboard one of our military installations, there's a young spouse. And dad's not there to catch a pass in the backyard or go to the Parent Teachers Association or help balance the checkbook. And they don't know when they're going to talk to them again or whether or not they're ever coming back. And it's hard. But when they go to bed at night, they're able to sleep because your Marines are the ones at the gates, the ones on patrol, the ones that are providing anti-terrorism force protection and security to make sure that those terrorists don't get a foothold in our country. And it's a tremendous responsibility. That's what your Marines do. And you have good reason to be very, very proud. And I appreciate you coming out. Now, for you Marines, we often think of graduation as the end. But it's not the end. It's not even the beginning of the end. It is, however, the end of the beginning. The young Marine up to this point in their life is what I like to call a customer of society. You're born, your parents take care of you, and then one day a little school bus comes along, and then your teachers tell you what to do and how to study, and your coaches, they teach you how to play football, basketball, baseball, all those sorts of things, and you learn all of the sorts of things that it takes to be an American citizen. And then one day you raise your hand and you go to a depot and there's a little guy wearing a funny hat and he gets you up out of bed in the morning. And he marches you to and from chow, makes sure that you get dressed, teaches you how to shoot a rifle, how to drill, all those sorts of things. And then when you come to military police school, your instructors teach you all the things that you need to know to be successful as a military policeman on the modern battlefield. Those days are over. When you walk across that stage, or this concrete, you're going to transition from being a customer of society to being a service provider. When you're walking through the streets of Afghanistan with a Condition 1 weapon, you decide, every person you look at, whether they live or die, because you have that kind of capability in your hands. You decide the tempo of the battle. You decide who comes through the gate, who doesn't, who gets handcuffs put on them, who goes to jail, who doesn't. You decide all of those things every day. It's a great honor and privilege to bear the sword for those who cannot bear their own. And that's what you do. You are required to do the right thing at the right time for the right reasons in the face of adversity when it's not popular. They don't call it sacrifice for nothing. I believe that the plumb line of righteousness has been laid out before the nations. And every generation of Marines has been a brick in this country's foundation. My time is gone. You're the current generation. Do not be the generation that comes off that plumb line. That standard is set. What was right and wrong 1,000 years ago is still right and wrong today, and will still be right and wrong in the future because God sets that standard. We don't. What's popular changes. What's cool changes. One thing never changes, and that's the difference between right and wrong. You're expected to know the difference between right and wrong. You're expected to make a stand for it. But you can do it. Your NCOs, commanders, if they didn't think you could do it, you wouldn't be sitting here. It's a lot to ask, but you can do it. So as you transition into operating forces, I wish you the best of luck. It's going to be a grand adventure. You're going to have a lot of experiences that most people never get to. See some things that maybe you wish you hadn't, but it's going to make a difference. President Reagan said that many people spend an entire lifetime wondering whether or not they've made a difference. The Marines do not have that problem. He also said that freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. So this is your embarkation. Take it seriously because it's serious business. Enjoy your time with your family. Go out and make our nation a better place to live. That's all I have. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.